What's up and welcome back to another video, guys. Today I'm going to be answering some of your questions. We'll be talking about the possibility of a Galactic Marine Battle Pack, as well as a possible Cloud City coming out in 2026, and also some new 2025 LEGO leaks. So without further ado, let's get right on into this video. First question for today comes from Hannah Rallies, and they ask, will we get sets for Tales of the Underworld? And unfortunately, I don't think it is that likely. Looking back to the Tales of the Empire as well as Tales of the Jedi, which I think would have been a lot more likely to get sets for, we never actually got sets for them, those being like the little mini-series that released on May 1st, and I don't think this year is going to be any different, especially with all of the different leaks that we have already kind of solidified, and it's nowhere to be found on the May 1st wave, and I don't think that LEGO would release a set for a mini-series, after it's already aired and come out and the hype around it has died. What I do think LEGO should be doing with these mini-series though is when they come out on May 4th, they can release a set in that May wave to coincide, build up the hype around it, and I think that would be a very good thing for the fans and help build the festivities around May 4th. I don't think that they have to be anything crazy. I think just a small little like $20 to $40 set would be perfect, and then retire it at the end of the year. It has no reason to have a super long runtime or be anything super serious, but I think that it would definitely build around that May 4th hype, and it would be a lot of fun, and there definitely were a ton of missed opportunities when LEGO was not making sets for the different mini-series. I think Tales of the Jedi had some golden opportunities, especially maybe to get like a young Count Dooku or something like that. Tales of the Empire had some really cool stuff with Grievous that I would love to see, and it's looking like with Tales of the Underworld, we'll have some really cool things with Ventress that would have been great to have gotten a set. I guess the V19 Torrent does have a Ventress in there, and I don't think that it is going to be related to the Tales of the Underworld version of Ventress. I think it's going to be more of a Clone Wars themed Ventress, but I still think it's pretty cool to be getting that little bit of a tie-in. I guess that might be a bit of a stretch, but I do think that LEGO should be making some sets for these mini-series, but it's something that they're not going to do. Ask, what are my thoughts on the Holiday AT-AT? And I think that it is great. I think that LEGO has definitely realized, that missed opportunity, or not missed opportunity, but they realized that the fans really love that Holiday X-Wing, and a lot of people really wanted to buy that set, me included, and I definitely would buy it if it wasn't $1,000, and I think LEGO is definitely tapping into that market. I think they kind of experimented with that little Holiday diorama, but that one, not selling as well as they probably would have thought, just because, most people don't really love the sequels that much. I still think it was a pretty cool set. But I think that a Holiday AT-AT is going to be very, very cool. And I'm super excited to see what they end up doing for the build. I know that the kind of rumor around that is that it's going to be kind of like a gingerbread house theme. And if that is true, I think that's going to be so sick. That's definitely one that I'm going to be picking up, putting on display around the holiday time to decorate. And I think it'll be a very cool set. We are going to be getting one minifigure with that, which I'm going to assume is going to be an AT-AT pilot or driver. I do kind of wish that there were a couple more, but I think, at least as long as he is a holiday themed minifigure, I'll be happy. I hope it's not just a plain old kind of AT-AT driver. I think it would be sick to, get that holiday kind of version and maybe get some of the different characters as well. Would be awesome, but I don't think that we will get them. And like I said, this being like a $70 set, I think will be kind of perfect for that kind of price point. Not being like a massive $160 AT-AT, because that probably wouldn't sell the greatest when looking toward like a holiday themed set. I'm very excited for this, and I'm very intrigued to see what LEGO ends up doing for this build. Next on your ask, when will we get a new Cloud City? And I'm right there with you. I feel like a new Cloud City should be right around the cusp for LEGO Star Wars. I think it being such an iconic scene from the movies, as well as the set, the Cloud City set being so iconic, the playset from 2003, as well as the Master Builder series. Now, I doubt that we would get another Master Builder series Cloud City anytime soon, but I do think that there is going to be a playset coming very soon. There's a couple of people saying that it could be one of the 2026 sets that were kind of starting to leak out. Personally, I don't really believe that. I think it's way too early to be talking about the leaks for 2026, and most of this stuff there is just completely people, making up rumors. There's no really anything set in stone there just yet, but I would love to see it. I think that Cloud City is such a cool scene, as well as being such an iconic set, and I think that LEGO definitely does see the hype around it and will be making a new set at some point in the future. I have no doubt that it would sell, and personally, I think it would be sick if they did kind of like a remake of that 2003 version with an updated version of the figures and an updated build. I think would be very cool. That'd probably come in around like the $150 mark with LEGO Star Wars today, if they were to, keep it the similar kind of size and keep the number of minifigures. But I think that would be very cool to see. I could also see them doing like a smaller kind of set build around that, which would be good, but I would prefer to get the whole thing. I do think maybe if dioramas ever came back for LEGO Star Wars, we could also get a Cloud City kind of diorama. It's just unfortunate that dioramas kind of left LEGO Star Wars and don't really have any sign of returning, but I do think it's only a matter of time before we see an updated version of Cloud City come out for LEGO Star Wars. Michael asks, what is my biggest missed Lego opportunity? And aside from me missing out on certain like bids and like newly listed things on eBay and other stuff like that, I think the biggest thing is back when the Nebulon B Frigate as well as the Bespin Duel were on shelves, when they were kind of like, exclusive type sets, but they were in the stores and stuff like that to be like sold to the consumer because, the different events weren't really happening at that time because of COVID. I had them, I was thinking about getting them. That was at a time where I wasn't really into Lego Star Wars. I didn't really want to spend money on Lego or anything like that. I was into Lego as a kid, and then I grew out of it, and then I got back into it kind of a bit after COVID, I'd say around like 2022. And so I kind of missed that opportunity. I had them in my hands and I was thinking about buying them because I thought they were very cool being exclusive sets. And now that I've kind of let that pass over, they're very expensive now, and I don't think that I would buy them just because they're very expensive now. And I just wish that I had gotten them back then when I had them. I would say it's probably my biggest Lego regret, other than some poor purchases that I've made that I've definitely talked about before, and then just like missing out on some different opportunities and other stuff like that. Sportsman asks, do I think that they might release a Galactic Marine Battle Pack for next year to get them for cheap? And I think that this is definitely a possibility, especially because it's, rumored that there is a whole new mold for the helmets. And I feel like if LEGO's making a new mold for a clone trooper, they're going to try and get the most out of them. Now, I do think a Galactic Marine Battle Pack would be so sick. That's something that people have wanted for 20 years, the Galactic Marines being so cool. There might be some people that would be a little bit upset that they're getting their $150 set minifigures released in a battle pack and no exclusivity. But I think it would be great. I think that the Galactic Marines should be in an army buildable set, because even if the minifigure isn't great, I'm still going to army build it because it's the Galactic Marines and they're so cool to me. So I will be army building it, and having a battle pack would just make it so much easier. And having your Commander Bakar will probably stay exclusive to that expensiver set that's going to be having the Galactic Marines originally in the summer, which is kind of, I don't even know what the build is going to be. Everyone's kind of torn if it's going to be a UTAT, a Tri-Droid, or like some cutaway of the bridge. I'm really hoping it's that UTAT, but that's besides the point. And I do think that there is a high chance to get the Galactic Marines in a battle pack, but I think there's an even higher chance to get the Galactic Marines in one of those paper packs, which kind of is annoying because we don't have those in America. So, people overseas can get them for insanely cheap, and then I'm here having to import them, and they cost me like $10 for the one figure versus like the below $5 it costs for the other people that don't live in America. But, is what it is. You can definitely get good deals in there, especially if you find someone who is willing to buy them for you and then ship them to you, and then you just pay them back. But, is a lot of different possibilities there, and I do think there is a higher likely to get them in a paper pack than there is to get them in a battle pack, but I would 100% love to see the Galactic Marines appear in a battle pack. Speaking of clone battle packs, Thiago asks, what are my thoughts on the 327th battle pack? And oh boy, I have a lot to say about this. First off, the price point. For the piece count and what you're actually getting at $40, I think this is insane. I think this battle pack should be $30. It should not be $40. I don't see the value unless the clone troopers that LEGO made are the best LEGO clone troopers that they have ever made. They have cloth, they have accessories, they have attachments, and they're very good. But personally, it's LEGO Star Wars in 2025 with clone troopers, so I don't have the highest of hopes. I do think that it should be pretty cool. I think the 327th are a very cool Legion, and I'm very excited to see them, especially because we're getting Bly and that MTT, and I'll definitely be buying them to army builds, and I want to do a Felucia mock, so I'm going to need them for that. I just think the biggest thing here, I would have no problems with this battle pack if it was $30, but $40 for 4 clone troopers, 3 droids, a spider droid, a little side thing, and a little ATRT is not worth it. It's just crazy. At that point, we should have just gotten rid of all of the crappy battle pack builds and gotten like a cool actual builds to go in there and bump it up to like $50, and it could have been something sick. You could have gotten a Republic fighter tank, maybe not a Republic fighter tank because we just got one, but there's so many different cool vehicles that we could have gotten in that set other than an ATRT and a spider droid, and it would have warranted that $40 price point a lot more versus this kind of battle pack that should be $30 that realistically I would rather just cut all of the other stuff out of it and it just be a $20 clone battle pack and not get your 3 super battle droids, your spider droid, and your little side build. But that is just me. I know a lot of people love to have, those super battle packs where you can build your droid army and clone army at the same time. Personally, I'd like to keep it separate. Unfortunately, LEGO doesn't really do anything with the droids. They don't make droid battle packs or anything like that, which definitely sucks. We need a lot more separatist sets because we are definitely lacking right now. Personally, I just think $40 is absurd, and I will only be buying one when it comes out, and I will definitely be waiting for it to go on sale. It's just kind of annoying. I know that there probably will be held in this battle pack. I do also think that they will come out in the little paper packs at some point in the future. I mean, that just seems to be what LEGO does every time a new clone comes out. They tends to appear in a paper pack, like the 212th and the Shock Troopers and all of that. So I have no doubt that they most likely will appear. I just think it's kind of absurd that it's $40. But other than that, I think it's interesting. I think the builds are pretty lackluster, and I'm very excited to see the minifigures once they finally leak. Liam Murphy asks, how can people get the UCS Jango Fett and Boba early? And simply, they're just stolen out of the factories. There's like this whole thing going on with the different factories, most prevalently the Mexico factory, where people will just, grab them right off the conveyor belt and then take them home and then sell them. There's a lot of drama there. People will also take stuff in bulk. When you look to a lot of those people that are selling like tons and tons of the 25th anniversary minifigures, they'll have like 300 Cal Kestuses, 300 Darth Maliks, and they're getting those because, they got them early, and they got them early on because people were just taking them off the conveyor belt, and then, they go to a middleman and then they sell them to the other stuff like that. I'm not sure like 100% in it, but I have a lot of my friends like deal with like selling Lego especially, and like they've been reached out by the people, like people from the factories trying to sell it, and it's something that I'm curious to see how Lego goes about it. I think it's very unfortunate, and maybe I'll make a video talking about all of the different stuff that I know. Personally, I don't have any like first-hand experience though, so I'm probably pretty unqualified to talk about it. I'm just talking about what I've heard from like secondary hand information, but I think it's interesting, and I'm curious to see like if Lego can combat it. But most of those minifigures, yeah, they're just stolen. People take them off the conveyor belt and then they go to sell them. It kind of, I don't know, it's an interesting thing. I think personally stealing is wrong, and if you're buying something that is stolen, because the only way to get those minifigures early is to take them directly from the factory, unless they were sold or given to someone by Lego personally to do like a review like the Ambassador Network. But even then, you're not supposed to sell the stuff that you got for an Ambassador video. So yeah, they're stolen, and I don't think that you should be like buying them, but I guess if it pops up for a good deal, you may as well. But I mean, I haven't seen any of those go for a good deal. People are buying them for like $200. I saw on an eBay sold one, when you can just wait a month and get the whole set for $300. I don't know why people are buying them early for that much money, but yeah, they're stolen, and I'm curious to see if Lego can do anything to combat that in the future. Host asks, what is my favorite Lego droid? And this is honestly a bit of a more tough question than I thought, but personally it boils down to two. I think the top two for me, first off, the Rebels version of Chopper, I think is just very cool. I think that he is a great honorable mention. I think Chopper is just a fun droid in general. Only the Rebels minifigure though, because I think the Ahsoka version of Chopper is a very bad droid. It's very not good in my opinion. The second place droid though that I was talking about is definitely the Imperial droid from the Imperial Assault Carrier, with that trans clear head and the little red printing. I think it just looks so cool, and I'm a big fan of that one. But the number one droid for me is the tactical droid. Come on, that thing is so sick, and we really need it in another set. That was exclusive to the Mace Windu Starfighter, I'm pretty sure, and it's like $100 now. I think it's less than $100. I've seen it sell like all over the place just because it's rare, it's exclusive to that set, and we need to get a new version. And also, I don't think that there's any like big problems. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's one that I've only owned for about a month now, so I don't really play with it or anything, but from what I've seen, it doesn't really like break or anything like that. It wasn't like an issue with the super battle droids that would get destroyed if you tried to play with them and stuff like that. But the tactical droid has such a cool design, and also the tactical droid just being such a cool type of droid from Star Wars, and I really hope that we see a new one come out soon. An honorable mention though is the wrist rocketed super battle droids. Those guys are also sick, but I think my number one has to be the tactical droid. But let me know down below in the comments what your favorite Lego droid is. Our last question comes from Carson, and they ask, why don't we get any more Star Wars Rebels sets? They still make sets for the Clone Wars far after it's over, but there are no Rebels sets in sight, and you don't think that the Ahsoka show counts, and I agree with you. I think the Ahsoka show sets are very different than Rebels with the characters and just the overall quality of the sets, and me being a massive Star Wars Rebels fan, the only issue here is with the Clone Wars. The reason that they're still making Clone Wars sets is because it's the Clone Wars. The sets always sell. There's so much hype around the Clone Wars, and people will always buy sets even if they they have Clone Troopers that are based on the Clone Wars, they're going to sell. And I still think that Star Wars Rebels sets would sell, but the show just being over and the show not being as hyped as Star Wars The Clone Wars and not having as much longevity is, it's just the truth. I think Lego would rather use their set slot, like if they are going to make a throwback kind of set to one of the older shows, they're going to pick the Clone Wars 9 times out of 10 just because it's going to sell better than a Star Wars Rebels set. As disappointing as that is, because I would love to see a Star Wars Rebels set. I'm a huge fan of Star Wars Rebels, and I'm sure was a lot of other huge fans of Star Wars Rebels. It's just outweighed by the fans of Star Wars The Clone Wars who are going to buy they'll buy multiples of the set too, which is the other thing. And I think LEGO knows that, and that's why they're still making Clone Wars sets and not making Star Wars Rebels sets. But I would love to get some more Star Wars Rebels sets because, like I said, it's just one of my favorite shows, and I think there's endless opportunity to get some very cool sets and some very cool characters. That is going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you for everyone for asking a question, and thank you for everyone for watching this video. If you have any questions that you'd like me to answer in the next installment of this series, let me know down below in the comment section of this video, and I'll try my best to get to them in the next episode. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay safe. Drew, signing out.